Hello everyone, this is Scott with Black Mountain Maple. Today I'm going to walk you through how I had a little bit of fun learning to turn a vase for the first time. So let's get into it. So this vase actually is something that my grandfather had started. He passed away close to 10 years ago now, and I thought finishing this up would make a good Christmas present for my father. He actually got the lathe from my grandfather just after he passed, and then never really had any use for it or any time to learn to use it. So it's since come to me. So I thought it would be a pretty good little surprise for him for this year. Just wanted to take some time to actually learn how to use a lathe, but everything I've done up until this point has been working on the outside of a piece. I've never done any hollowing. As you'll see, I think it becomes pretty apparent pretty quick. So this design was already done up by him, so I wanted to try and stay as true to that as I could as I was going through. So here's where I first really learned that I had no idea what I was doing, trying to hollow out a vase or bowl or anything. And I had a pretty good catch, so would appreciate if you could leave any resources for me to learn to do this a little bit better. You'll see I stopped there, and then I did go in and do a little bit of research, and things went a little bit smoother from then on. I realized I was using the tool completely wrong. You can see I'm actually getting some pretty decent shavings here now. Just quite satisfying, I had to say, actually seeing some shavings coming out. But I also learned, as you can see here, that I figured the easiest way to hollow it out was just to use a Forstner bit, which do not use cheap ones that are not sharp, they will just burn. Which really didn't seem that safe given how much sawdust was inside the bowl. So got a little bit with that large one. I think I switched it out to a smaller one that I knew was a fish bit. It was a lot nicer bit, but left more work for me. So went in with the bowl gouge again, and then some sanding, try and get the inside nice and smooth. I'll also recommend make sure your hand will fit inside of a vase as you're trying to sand it. You got a little friction burn at one point there, thinking my hand would fit when it actually didn't. But I sanded up to 300 and then decided to do a coat of Danish oil, I believe it was first, which is pretty satisfying to put on with the lathe, even though it really does make a mess the way I did it here, but it was still kind of fun. Put it on, let it sit for a little while, and then came back and wiped off what was sitting there. I think I did 2 coats of this, nothing too much. It's really just a decorative vase in the end. I'm not looking for any actual function out of it. Here I was thinking I could use this 4-jawed chuck to finish up the end, which it started to work, but I had to go and change my pants here in a second, as you'll see. First sign, a little catch, and then I was afraid that I had ruined this vase. So what I actually chose to do here as a fix was just to reshape the bottom of it a little bit. I wasn't overly happy with how it sat anyway, it just looked a little too beefy on the bottom. So I decided to just clean that up and use it as an opportunity to play with the bowl gouge a little bit more, where I really have no experience doing that. You can see there's a bit of a wobble in this. I didn't get it centered up perfectly on that chuck, but wasn't too worried. It was mostly just sanding anyway, so I had to come back in and sand off that nice finish that I just put on. And I opted this time actually to switch to just an oil, mineral oil or cutting board oil, and a paste wax finish. Something just a little bit quicker and easier to put on, didn't have to wait for it to cure nearly as much, which was still very fun and satisfying to put on with the lathe. I left the inside as it was, finished with that Danish oil. Wiped it all on, let it sit for a little bit. Wiped the excess off, and then came back with some paste wax, which was very nice with the lathe, being able to just put that on, leave it for a little bit, and then have it polish up really nice. You'll see coming up here. In the end, I'm much happier with the design that it is here now, with a different taper there on the bottom. But here you can see the line moving across as that polishes right up with that paste wax. So I'd like to hear any comments down below. If anything that you think I could have done better, I would greatly appreciate it. Obviously, I need a little bit of help, and greatly appreciate any subscriptions as well. It'll really help my channel out and help me grow.